Hello, everyone. Today we are looking at the Cobra CLAW, which is the uh, Cobra essentially powered glider. All right. So, getting this off of the GI Joe Wikipedia or Joepedia page, so we can get a little bit more of a background for all those that are not familiar with it. Although I'm sure that many of you really are. This is while GI Joe had the Skyhawks to patrol the skies, Cobra has built a subversive weapon to get around them, the covert light aerial weapon, Claw. So, small and fast, it can easily evade aerial radar as it flies below radar range, and before the Joe team is alerted to its presence, it's too late as it pulls off its mission. Flying the machine, though, is no mean feat. It has many basically a hang glider with rockets, but it takes the steelest of operators to keep it up with the speed um, and from trying to crash it into trees or buildings or walls or whatever. Okay, so the features of the Claw: it's armed with a 7.6 millimeter machine guns capable of shooting about 2,000 rounds per second. It is complemented by two 10-pound HE-8 Venom missiles. Its single most effective weapon is the 750-pound DES-28-B flash-fire bomb, which is capable of delivering a wider area of damage on enemy bases. Body shields are placed at strategic locations around the vehicle to protect the pilot. Auxiliary cooling slots keep the pilot from being burned by the rocket engine. The rocket engine itself is capable of near instantaneous takeoff for a quick launch or getaway. The drawback to the Claw is that despite provisions for pilot safety, the lack of sufficient armor continues to be of greatest concern. A puncture of the right or in the right spot on the rocket boosters can easily burst it into flames. Uh, Grievousness aside, pilot safety was never high on the list of priorities in designing the machine. So that's really what we have in the write up for this. Trying to see. Normally they have a list. They're getting some of this stuff from IDW. Um, some of it's coming from the Marvel Comics. In the Marvel Comics, being small, incredibly fast, the Claw enabled Storm Shadow to abduct Scarlet right from under the noses of the GI Joe team. Um, I know it's been flown by both groups from time to time. The Joes have kind of commandeered a couple of them every so often. So what I had done is trying to make it ourselves. Is We have a vehicle that is 8 feet long, has a crew of one, no passengers. Although we have seen it being used for passengers by abducting Scarlet for one note. Cover full on top, none on the bottom. That's kind of what I have. Altitude range. It was listed as going up for about 1 kilometer. Remember, you're supposed to be flying under the radar. You could take it up a little higher, but you know, you start getting up too high, oxygen starts getting a little thinner, and you start having some problems. It is. I listed it as being somewhat maneuverable, so I gave it a 3D. Um, Now, I never really gave it a move. Let's see. I'm going to flip back over here. Not that you guys can really see this, but uh, let's see. I don't know what I should really put down as a move. So I had kind of left that blank. I thought I had gone back to it, but apparently I did not. So let's see. What would be a very good equivalent? Um, Usually, when I'm doing stuff like this, I like to go to some of the different areas or whatever um, that I can to try and come up with what I think might or might not do. Um, you're taking a wild guess at this. I will get something in here. I'm going to say maybe. Uh, you know, I don't think it should be as fast as a lot of the other uh, vehicles in that. Um, I don't know. Let's give it a flight speed of maybe 200 kilometers an hour. That sounds like it'd be a little. It is rocket powered, so let's do about 200 kilometers per hour. kph. Okay. Um, and I gave it a body strength of 2. Now, when we're looking at the body strength, because this is a personal scale, okay? So this isn't a vehicle scale or anything else. This is like shooting at somebody with a strength of 2D. So keep that all in mind. The scaling is a big thing here. So again, like I said before, I'm trying to keep this more of um, uh, the cartoon is really what I'm kind of driving for here. So I gave it heavy repeating blasters. Okay, keeping it in line with like Star Wars. Um, my original thought on this is I'm going to have it done like it's in Star Wars, but just on its own planet or something like that. And occasionally, maybe a Star Wars vessel crash lands, and then everyone's trying to get whatever technology they can off of this. Um, you know, a Star Wars vessel would be the same as a UFO in this regard. So, it's a possibility. Now, I don't remember. Okay, so I did give it. So we have a heavy repeating blaster, fire control of 1D, just very rudimentary. The range is there. We have a damage of 5. And then I give it a. Yeah, I give 5D for damage. We have 2 unguided missiles. I did not put the bomb on there because when I was going off of this, I was just kind of going off of um, the toy view, and I don't remember seeing a bomb, so I did not give it the bomb. Um, but if you're seeing you can hold a 750-pound bomb, that is pretty darn respectable. But I gave it 2 unguided missiles with a +2 because it's fire and forget. You're hoping that you're aiming it right. And being missiles, I gave it a 7D for damage. Um, kind of keeping it kind of on the basic side. I'm not really trying to throw in any computer stuff or very much in computer stuff. Maybe just like a little drop down site or something that might be on there. Like I said, just trying to keep this as basic as you can, so it could be kind of mass produced somewhere. Um, if it does get demolished or whatever, it's not going to be a big financial loss. Um, that was my kind of go-to on this. Um, so that's really where we are. Um, I think this is a pretty good setup for this. I think it would work really well. I think this is the type of stuff that we would really love to see come out for like the GI Joe Classified series. Stuff like this, the little vehicles. It doesn't need to be on the big HasLab. They could do the small, inexpensive little vehicles. Charge us $15-20 just for this, and then I think most people would be happy. Um, it gets us back to being our young kid again, and remembering back in 1982, 84, whatever. This I believe came out in 84, but takes us back to our childhood and going from there. Now, the issues that I've heard from a lot of people is, where do we take GI Joe? Do we take it and move it into the future? Do we keep it in the past? There's a lot of younger kids that are getting into the stuff. They'd love to see it in more of the futuristic stuff. Maybe give them mechas or whatever else. Um, those like myself were very rooted in the old 1980s GI Joe, just like a lot of the other stuff. The Transformers from the 80s were very rooted into a lot of that stuff, where the designs were, what the toys were, because that's what we grew up with. We want to recapture joy of being a kid again. So, but this is our second edition into this. I hope you're enjoying the series. It's another wonderful series to bring in and to say, hey, look, this is something that I did. Actually, it's getting on about 2 years ago already, if not maybe a little bit more. But I did this a while ago for the idea of bringing this all into the D6 universe to try and help create GI Joe in the Star Wars universe. On you could just keep them on one planet, or maybe they're out in the solar system, but it is just in that universe. So here's our second edition onto everything. Hope you're enjoying it. We'll see you in the next video.